Hang on. What's the problem? Gluttony?
Yeah.
Overeating.
Is it actually?
Yeah.
Can I do something? I probably.
Diplomacy?
Yeah.
It's when you speak politely in order to accomplish a goal. A diplomat is a representative typically of a government to another government, and they speak in a manner that is appropriate. When you say, that's not very diplomatic of you to say, if I said, what you're wearing is completely inappropriate, somebody said, well, that's not very diplomatic. I guess I should have said it in a different way. That's an interesting way that you've come to there. Maybe pick the other topic. And we get all that on video, by the way, so we can relive it. There you go, you're on.
13-year-old me was kind of lost, trying to figure out who I was. I wanted to try and fit in, so I guess I went about it for the wrong reasons. I wanted to be popular, so I dressed a certain way, or I started hanging out with this group so I could get a name for myself and try and fit in, I guess you could say, and be part of a clique or be part of a group, which I didn't really care for. And now that I think back on it, I think about how stupid I was as a kid trying to fit in, and it was so dumb. Buckaroo Banzai says, no matter where you go, there you are. And that speaks for itself. I mean, wherever you go, you're your own person ultimately. You kind of need to focus on being who you are and not trying to focus on what other people want you to be, or try and fit in and change who you are because you want to be popular, or because you think you have to act a certain way in order to get attention. An example personally is I kind of, like I said, I changed who I was. I grew up in a predominantly white area, so I kind of changed who I was. I acted a certain way so people didn't stereotype me as being ghetto, or didn't stereotype me as being someone that I wasn't. And I think that affected me because I didn't want to be, that's not who I wanted to be, thinking back on it, that's not who I wish I was growing up, because I wasn't a fun person to be around. Another example is my friend. She I saw her change who she was for a relationship. Her boyfriend was doing drugs all the time, and that affected her because she started doing it. She started falling and going down the wrong path because she wanted to be what he wanted her to be and be his little druggy girlfriend as well. And ultimately that affected her, and nobody wanted to be around her. And that's a toxic relationship, and I don't think it benefited her. She lost herself in the process of doing it, and I think that affected her. It affected relationships, and ultimately this whole concept, this whole idea of being who you are, you need to focus on being your own person. Don't lose yourself along the way because you want to fit in. And I think that all of us can relate. I think all of us at some point in our life kind of questioned who we were, or we lost ourselves in the process because we wanted to be this or be that. And I think overall, you need to be your own person in work, in school. Focus on personal growth. Focus on bettering yourself as an individual instead of trying to change who you are. So thank you.
There's not. Four.
All right, Amanda, I like the reference to your 13-year-old self. I think you give us a little bit of detail there that helps us see your point. I think you transitioned the topic very clearly. You've got a reasonable interpretation of it. I like the point that you're ultimately trying to make. I think you do a good job on that. There's not really a preview of what you're going to be talking about. You've got two examples that ends up being structured around. You've got a personal example describing your own actions and behaviors, and then you've got the one of your friend who basically made some mistakes in trying to appease a boyfriend. I thought that those were both pretty good examples to illustrate your point. So structurally, it's sound. There could be maybe a little bit more and maybe a little more detail on a couple of the examples, but you've got the basic idea. You have a point that you were trying to make, and that's the thing that matters the most. And I thought it was very clear what your point was, and at the end of the speech, you come back to that point, remind us of that, and that's a strong way to finish. Presentation, I think that you sound very confident. You're fluid while you're speaking. I thought that you did a very good job projecting your voice and conveying confidence with the way you were talking to us. Your facial expressions and your eye contact look engaged. It looks like you are looking around at the whole audience and trying to connect with everybody here, not just the people right in front. I did think it was a little bit odd that you're standing as far back as you could possibly get right up against the whiteboard there. We won't bite. Well, Mala, I know he's sitting up front. He looks maybe dangerous, but he's not that dangerous. You can probably take a couple of steps forward and be a little bit more engaged that way. Because like I said, with your voice and your facial expressions, you look really engaged, but with your body movement, it's just like, I'm going to kind of be as far back as I can, and that kind of undercuts some of the other things that you're doing. Otherwise, everything I think is really solid. Thank you.